This is Star Wars The Clone Wars Savage Opress. The figure is part of the fourth wave of Clone Wars figures for 2011. Alright, get the figure out of the way for a while. Let's focus a little bit on the packaging. Yes, it is a modified new packaging. The card back seems to have the same old design. It's a 2010. But the bubble has been changed. As you can see, it no longer has the depression on the right hand side, and if you notice, the Galactic Battle Game card has already been positioned at the back of the figure with the die on the left hand side, and the base is located there at the base of the box. So that's that. Pretty cool. I like the new change, or the change in this packaging. Here is the rest of the assortment for the wave. So there. Alright. Get rid of that. On to Savage. Here he is with my ancient, outdated Count Dooku, the one that still didn't have the knees. So here he is. And just for fun, we'll have his brother Darth Maul with him. I wish they would make a Clone Wars version of Darth Maul. That'd be very cool. Okay, enough of that. Okay. I like this figure. It's easily my favorite, if not, and also easily the best one in the wave. Who would not want this guy? Very, very cool. The package doesn't really, the bio on the card doesn't really give away too much of the storyline. If you haven't watched this, the arc of the Night Sisters, then the package doesn't give away too much spoilers. It just says Savage Opress is a dangerous assassin whose strength and abilities are enhanced by the Night Sisters' mysterious witches on the planet Dathomir. Opress uses menacing battle axes to deliver death and destruction at the command of Count Dooku and the Sith Lord's former agent Asajj Ventress. Well, a little bit of spoilers there, but I'm really, really excited to just get this figure, and I'm looking forward to the armored version of this figure. It has the twin lightsabers. Very, very cool figure, the design by Hasbro, and I'm really, really glad that the figures that have been coming out are more updated, closer to what's going on in the Clone Wars series. I actually thought that the Savage Opress would come in late, like a few episodes into the fourth season, but pretty surprised that Hasbro has released it early. So kudos to Hasbro for doing a good job on this figure. Some details: he's got two battle axes. This one is a standard one, the one that you can use for display. It's thin. He can hold it very well with either hand, so that's pretty cool. This one is the rocket launching one. Looks interesting. It has these corny, like, suitcase handles. I mean, as if, you know, Savage Opress needs these handles. I mean, if you watch the show, he's the type of guy who would just grab this weapon right there and would not need these suitcase handles. And, you know, that's pretty cool. This is actually a nicer figure to display. The sad fact is, if you keep it too long in his hand, you might expand the fingers or the grip too much. So if you want to preserve your figure, it might not be the wisest thing to do. But there are these handles to prevent that. It has a launching missile if you have a lot of these Lego, I forgot what they're called. They're sort of Bionicle. There you go, Bionicle figures. You know what I'm talking about with these things. It's first time I've seen this one on a Star Wars weapon, and they do give instructions on how to launch the missile. You just push at the back end of the missile and it will launch. And the whole idea is once you push, you build up enough potential energy right there on the entire missile, and the amount of potential energy built up once the orb part of the missile is freed of the restraints, really has a significant amount of kinetic energy released onto the missile, which propels the missile long enough. It launches a good distance. I tried it on the bed and it's pretty cool. Yeah, right there. See, it's pretty good. Didn't have to do a mechanism on it, and I was it's a lot cheaper. And I think on the part of Hasbro, they could put more detail, more paint apps on it without severely going over budget. The lack of the spring, I think, really helped with the increase in detail and paint apps of the entire figure. Now, having said that, I was kind of hoping they would have saved some money on the weapons and added more articulation by the figure, but no, as you would expect, Hasbro has again diminished the articulation of their new figures, and as you can see with this one, which I will show now, he has got some diminished articulation. He's got a ball jointed neck, very cool. He's got a swivel waist, ball hinge shoulder, ball hinge elbows, swivel wrist, swivel hips, ball hinge knees, and no ankle articulation. For a character that showed that was in a lot of action scenes in the series, you would expect Hasbro to allow you to put this guy in some really badass poses, but you just can't. And part of it is really the lack of articulation. The other is this the waist cape, or I don't know what they call it, but his garb is made of a rubbery type of plastic that really hinders a lot of articulation. And as you can see, there's a slit. There's slits on either end, and there is no in and out motion on the hips, which is really just a shame. Very difficult to pose this figure, but he still looks good just standing up, being menacing. The tattoos they've put on this guy, on his skin, appears to be very yellow. I wish it would have been more closer to his flesh tone on the show, but what can you do? That's it. The very ominous looking tattoos are actually pretty creepy. And his face, let's try and get some lighting on that. Okay. Very, very cool. He's got this really menacing, creepy look to him. So very cool. The spikes are made of soft rubbery plastic, I think, even the head, so no chance of breaking them or hurting yourself. Well, it does kind of hurts, kind of pricks. Let me see it. All right, so there he is, Savage Opress. Very, very nice figure. If you're a big fan of the Clone Wars, definitely a must pick up. I don't think I even have to remind Clone Wars fans out there to pick this guy up. This is the first, I believe, once this wave hits retail, this is going to be one of the first ones to actually just vanish off the shelf. The first figure to vanish off the shelf once it gets released. But the good news is, succeeding waves, I think wave 5 will have him repacked in the assortment, so that's cool. If you miss out on this guy in wave 4, when wave 5 hits shelves, you'll have a chance to get him again. And then wave 6, I think we'll have him again. I'm not sure. So anyway, that's that. Very, very cool figure. Really very pleased and excited to actually have him right now. Let me just put this. There you go. Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Savage Opress. To find out my latest toy purchases and upcoming reviews, please follow me on Twitter at www.twitter.com/fxfranz. Thanks for watching.